From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
Indiana and states across the nation received their first shipments of COVID-19 vaccine to start the week. Workers on the front lines getting their initial doses today.
The first doses were given to a doctor, nurse, respiratory therapist, pharmacist, and 2 other technicians this afternoon at Parkview Hospital in Fort Wayne. It is one of 5 pilot hospitals in the state. And
in Indy, IU Methodist is expected to begin vaccinating workers on Wednesday.
The city is playing a key role in distribution as we take a major step forward in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Good evening. I'm Amanda Starrentino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. Over the weekend, those emergency COVID-19 vaccines made their way to facilities across the country, including the huge FedEx hub in Indianapolis. Officials at the hub call it a monumental moment for the company.
The hub will be instrumental in storing and making sure vaccines make it to their destinations this week.
This may be our finest hour as a company. These vaccine manufacturers and the distributors, they're already our customers. We know them, we know their business. So the government came to us because they know we have the expertise in this. They know we have the network and the capabilities and the know-how to do it.
The FedEx facility will be responsible for storing vaccines in freezers and making sure any incoming vaccines are distributed to the correct spot. In the first wave of vaccinations, healthcare workers and those who work and live in long-term care facilities are first priority. Indiana state health officials say they expect most of the general population will have access to vaccines next spring and summer.
Today's Indiana State Department of Health reports over 5,000 new cases of COVID-19. We're still riding out the peak of coronavirus activity in the state so far in the pandemic.
We are also still seeing high amounts of Hoosiers dying with the virus. The state reports today 35 additional deaths of people in Indiana who had COVID-19. A hopeful number is the decline of people hospitalized with COVID. They are the lowest in nearly a month and continue a steady downward trend that started last Tuesday. As of yesterday, there were 3,072 people in the hospital with COVID or suspected cases of COVID. The last time it was about that low was November 18th at 3,063.
Many Hoosiers are trying to walk the fine line between supporting local businesses and staying safe from COVID-19. A Broad Ripple restaurant believes it has one solution as the weather gets colder. WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows us how it works.
In the year 2020, sitting in your very own personal greenhouse is the coolest way, or, well, the warmest way to dine out.
They allow seating for 2 to 4 people, or one to 4 people in there. We say 3 comfortable, 4 cozy.
These greenhouses on the patio of Public Greens in Broad Ripple is a product of creativity in a pandemic.
We have these vents too. If people want a little bit extra air circulation, we can open these up.
It's a concept Katie Pittman and her team came up with as a solution to recommendations from government and health officials that restaurant customers eat outside even through winter, an idea that at first was laughable.
Very difficult. Yeah, exactly. Kind of laughed a little bit. And then it's you kind of just have to throw that idea out that you're not going to eat outside in Indiana in the winter.
Like other businesses, Public Greens was inspired to innovate by everything 2020 has thrown their way. Now the outdoor dining experience comes with heaters, blankets, and on warmer days, a vent for fresh air, all creating a cozy setting for people from the same household while keeping them separate from other customers. Pittman says the concept has already received a warm welcome from families with children.
We actually just had a woman that said, she's like, I just had a newborn child. We're celebrating our anniversary, and we didn't know if we would be able to go out to eat and celebrate.
In a time when creativity is key to a fun and safe environment, Pittman is hoping the creativity at Public Greens is enough to encourage customers to dine out this winter.
Now, if you still want to dine at home, we're happy to accommodate and make you feel safe in whatever dining experience you want, whether that's, dining in the dining room that's socially distant, sitting by our fire, the greenhouses, or carry out.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
Public Greens is in Broad Ripple, and if you're interested in dining in the greenhouse, they suggest making a reservation. And remember, the seating arrangements are intended for groups that already spend time together, since the enclosed space could spread COVID-19 easier than being out in the open.
And we are back on track as far as seasonable winter weather goes today with that cold air. We'll see where we are headed tonight with Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory. Kevin.
And Amanda, cold now, colder later. First thing in the morning will be in the mid-20s. Hopefully you got a good look at the sunset this evening. For most of us, it was a good-looking one as skies cleared late in the day. And the fact that the wind calms down and the sky is clear, this is happening already. Temperatures down to 26 in Greenfield, New Pal's at 27. Head down to Morgan County, 28 in Martinsville. Statewide temperatures not much different. North to south or west to east. Temperatures all united in the 20s here before long and lower 20s in the morning. A cold breeze tonight, we'll call it. Partly cloudy. Temperature at 11 o'clock when we get together at 27. As we go through the day tomorrow, we move from partly cloudy first thing in the morning in 23 to 35 and mostly cloudy in the afternoon. All of what we've talked about so far is the preamble to our conversation about potential light accumulating snow for Wednesday. We'll do that shortly.
We'll look forward to it. Sometimes it's about being quick on your feet. Coming up here, how one industry has been able to pivot towards success despite the pandemic.
So many large and small shops are adapting to the pandemic and pivoting to put their businesses online to reach more people. Tonight, WRTV's Kelsey Anderson explains how the pandemic is positively impacting web designers.
We typically attend conferences, walks, outreach events, one-on-one parent trainings, in-person parent trainings. A lot of our business is in person. And so when pandemic hit, it became pretty obvious that we were going to have to pivot quickly.
Carla Webster works for Bierman Autism Center. They provide one-on-one speech and occupational therapy to kids on the autism spectrum.
At the beginning of the pandemic, it was apparent pretty quickly that we were a essential business.
They are still working with children one-on-one, but they aren't able to have parents come in and tour the facility or work with them to fill the gaps at home. So they partnered with Sharp Guys Web Design to help them reach more parents and help more children with autism.
These guys are doing such amazing work helping children with autism. We've done some digital marketing, helping people find them through search, helping people see their ads, and then actually also kind of creating some different plans around email marketing as well for their company.
Cody Sharp runs Sharp Guys Web Design, and he says they were fortunate because the changes caused by the pandemic have brought them a lot of new opportunities.
A lot of companies that were doing a lot of traditional marketing now all of a sudden are starting to look to the web. It's opportunity that's really been there for the last couple of years, but they just didn't realize, they didn't really recognize it a lot of times.
He tells me they work with companies from small mom and pop shops to large manufacturers. And at the end of the day, it feels good knowing his services are keeping some of these businesses afloat.
A lot of our clients are just doing such crucial work. Even we work with dentists and they're doing important work for people's health. We're working with, like our autism clinic here, but we work with manufacturers. All of these people are doing such amazing work. We just are very fortunate. It feels really good to be able to help these people.
Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Sharp Guys Web Design does offer free website analysis, so if you already have a business website but want to know how to get the most out of it, you can find their contact info on this story in the WRTV app. When your goal is to literally broaden horizons for students, it's all about adaptation during lockdowns. Coming up, how the Circle City Group is still giving kids a global view during the pandemic.
And putting the snow potential around 1 inch is just a conversation starter. We'll give you more finer details about our Wednesday coming up.
A lot of things have been put on hold during the pandemic, but some doctors are urging you not to put your health on hold.
Yeah, at Ascension St. Vincent, doctors say they are still seeing people skip routine health screenings, visits that can be made safely and effectively virtually or in person if need be.
I got the chance to talk with a farmer who is ready to get back to work after safely receiving a new heart in the midst of a pandemic. Richard York is a family man and a farmer.
We grow soybeans and corn and wheat and barley and everything else. It's just the adventure of doing something and watching what you did grow and then harvest it and take it to town. Because I love it. I truly love it.
In 1992, he was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, a weak and enlarged heart. His condition started rapidly deteriorating in the last few years, and the man who loves to put in the work in the field was taken off the farm.
And I farmed until 6 years ago. And then I had to quit because her was starting to get bad. He was just wore out all the time.
In May of 2019, Richard was put on a heart transplant list. But with his condition, his window of opportunity was shrinking. 18 months later, he got the call that a heart was available for him in Indianapolis, which also meant an invasive procedure at a hospital in the middle of a pandemic.
You don't have no choice. I mean, you know, hearts don't come up every day. So you got to take advantage of it when it comes. So, and I knew if I'd quit, you know, the chance maybe never come again. And I knew myself I wouldn't last a whole lot longer. So I thought, you know, just stay on the list and see what happens. If one comes, it comes. If it don't, you know, I was content.
The now 66-year-old's commitment to his health is keeping him disciplined with his medical visits, both in person and virtually when possible.
Mr. York is doing unbelievably well. He is basically back to doing his normal levels of activity. I anticipate that he'll, if somebody didn't know him, they wouldn't have any idea that he actually had a weak heart in the past.
Dr. Sunit Preet Chaudhry is Richard's cardiologist at Ascension St. Vincent in Indianapolis. The fear of the pandemic has kept many Hoosiers straying from seeing their doctor, but skipping routine health screenings can create even more problems.
We don't know how long COVID is going to be around for. My personal feeling is that this will be something we'll have to live with at least for the next few months. And unfortunately, as people know, health problems or medical conditions don't wait for COVID.
And there are options that are safe to make sure your health stays in check. Here at Ascension St. Vincent, Dr. Chaudhry says they have been doing virtual visits as much as possible.
A lot of medical care is actually just listening to the patient, but we are able to use things such as smart devices and phones to actually see the patients face to face. And I would say the majority of what we need to do, or if we think that they need to be seen in person, that can also be accomplished through a virtual visit.
Continuing his care through the coronavirus pandemic is what has allowed Richard to get back to the farm and his family.
If I wake up, it's a good day. I just kept going, and then I promised my wife and I promised them I'd stay around as long as I could to keep Diane happy. So I just, you know, and I'm one of them kind, if I make you a promise, I'm going to do everything I can to keep it. And I feel good now. I feel really good. That's amazing.
Richard also says he recognizes how someone is no longer here, which is why he has a new heart. And he hopes to make that person proud by making sure their heart is put to good use. Kevin.
A lot going on in the 7-day forecast, not right now, obviously. We're dry and cold. Temperatures in the 20s. I think the most active part of the forecast is Wednesday. Then we'll start a trend toward warming up. Temperatures tonight drop into the 20s. Okay, let's talk about the snow. The first snow of the season, potentially accumulating snow. Indianapolis officially has not had a trace of snow yet. As you look tomorrow, actually starting tonight to the southwest, there's the snow, and I'll just let this roll out into the time period on Wednesday morning. That's at 7 a.m. Then we take it through the day, and it becomes a much bigger storm system for the mid-Atlantic, for New York, for Boston, where they may have a foot of snow. For us, we're on the cold side of the storm system, so it will be snow. Could have a couple raindrops mix in, but much less in the way of accumulation. 20s in the morning. Temperatures move to the low 30s by noon. Afternoon high temperatures below average for this time of the year, competitive with what we had today at 35. So let's talk about probability of snow. Pretty high through the morning into the afternoon hours on Wednesday. There's the temperature profile. Should come just above the freezing mark in the afternoon. That would help on roadways, just make it a little more of a slushy mess. Temperatures from north to south, lower 30s to mid 30s in most locations. Okay, here is the latest. Now these models will bounce around a little bit. This is what we call our rapid precision mesoscale model, and hinting at about an inch of snow. Pretty much all of central Indiana would be included in that snowfall potential. You can find a couple spots that may have a little more than that. I do think that this will bounce around as far as predicting amounts as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours, but in that ballpark. 36 Thursday, Friday temperature 38. That gives us momentum from which we'll continue to warm up. Chance for some rain showers Saturday and 42. Temperatures early next week are back into the middle to upper 40s. That 7-day forecast again. Wednesday's the day of focus for some light snow. Chance that we have some rain showers on Saturday at 42 degrees and then back up to 47 on Monday. I'll hit the button one more time and you'll see some fancy colors here that tell us 22nd through the 28th of December as we go through Christmas, above average temperatures are expected. Santa in shorts? I doubt it, but maybe dressed more comfortably.
At least knee-high boots. All right, thanks, Kevin. The pandemic is forcing people to get creative as trips are canceled and people have to adjust plans to stay safe. An Indianapolis group known for broadening the horizons of students and showing them what the world has to offer outside of the Circle City is one of the groups adapting. WRTV's Troy Washington is showing us tonight how they are working to still provide experiences for kids during these different times.
I was literally scratching my head as I'm doing now. I was scratching my head like, what are we going to do?
When Claudia White started Youth Global Perspectives, it was because she wanted young people to get out of Indianapolis and experience other cultures, to leave their comfort zone and see there's so much out there to explore.
If we aren't able to travel, how can we bring travel to us?
WRTV talked with White back in March. Back then, the group had a trip to Spain planned for summer 2020.
It was hard to let go of the Spain trip, and it was going to be for 21 days. And then, boom, COVID hit.
The trip was postponed. The pandemic has challenged the group.
It gave us a chance to take another look at the organization and come up with ways to be innovative, because had COVID not happened, we probably wouldn't even been thinking about other ways to travel.
And she really wanted to give the children something to do.
Doing the same thing over and over again and seeing the same things over and over again, it's overwhelming for them, and it's like it gets boring and played out.
After thinking really hard and doing research, White came across Tech Row and their virtual reality program.
The Everson Family Fund gave us a grant to purchase the virtual reality headsets and the content so we can continue to have it. The virtual reality piece is also helpful for financial reasons. Some families aren't able to raise a portion of the money for their trip. So if they just want to have their kids signed up with the virtual reality program, they can still have some experiences until they're able to be able to fundraise and raise the money that it would take to go on an international trip or even a national trip.
Now all 15 of the students in the program have some place to go thanks to the power of technology. White thinks the new edition will even help once they can physically travel again. Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
And the Spain trip has been moved to summer 2021. If you have a student interested in participating or you would like to support the group, we will put all of their information in this story on WRTV.com. Organizers said it, and we agree. You could find the spirit of sharing and caring today in one Indianapolis neighborhood as volunteers adapted to the new way of things this holiday season. We caught up with everyone at the Mary Riggs Neighborhood Center toy distribution today. Typically, the group would open up a big indoor room like a grocery store so families can pick presents. But with the pandemic this year, they adapted to a drive-through format with gifts for each family. The focus, however, was about spreading the joy.
It's been real hard over the last 9 months. And so today we've really just taken a break to forget about the virus and spread the joy of the season and help these families in a little bit of a different way.
Over 300 families have reached out to Mary Rigg requesting help with food, blankets, clothes, and toys for their children in the last month. So the center says this year was more important than ever.
Lots of clouds tomorrow. We'll hold off on any precipitation until we get to Wednesday. Modest temperature climb. 24 in the morning, 35 in the afternoon. That's in Indianapolis. Some spots maybe just a little warmer than that. Still cold Wednesday and Thursday. We start to turn it the other way. By the weekend, we're back in the low 40s. Something to look forward to. Mark, Amanda?
Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news. Our next newscast is tonight at 11.